Hello.
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 And welcome to a very special episode of the Weekend Superheroes Podcast. Today is Saturday, April 8th, 2017. I'm Sean, and sitting with me always is Pat. And Steve. And we don't have Darius. We have a new...
Wait, that's not Darius?
Shit. This is not Darius.
Looking a little pale. We have Tony. Tony, how you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you for joining the podcast, buddy. So last episode, Steve, what happened last episode?
First of all, I have two things. I feel like every episode is a very special episode.
Sometimes I have a different adjective, but
okay.
I went for special.
And the second thing, I think this might be the first time we've recorded on the weekend.
It is. And we are the Weekend Superheroes. It's different.
So this is the first time we've actually lived up to our name.
Yeah.
It's about time.
But see, I feel like it's more special during the week because we drink during the week and then we have to get up and go to work the next day.
Yeah, that special is one word for it.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't tell anyone that I work with that I do this.
Yeah,
True story.
Me too.
But today...
Well, last week or last time on the podcast, don't skip me here.
Right.
Previously on the Weekend Superheroes,
We interviewed.
Will Rocky and Bullwinkle figure this out?
Join us next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. So anyway, last time we interviewed a very cool transgender person.
Her name?
Autumn.
Autumn. She was awesome. She was great, guys. Check out the last episode, please. And check out her YouTube channel. She was great. But today's new. Today we're talking about D.I.D. Pat.
did.
Nice job. Dissociative.
Is it Darius in Demand?
No, Darius is never in demand.
And I miss him so much. This is Dissociative Identity Disorder, previously known as Multiple Personality Disorder, MPD. According to Wikipedia, D.I.D. is a mental disorder characterized by at least two distinct identities or dissociated personality states, that alternately show in a person's behavior. It is often accompanied by memory impairment not explained by ordinary forgetfulness.
Like booze.
Like Jameson.
Gotcha.
Whiskey.
I was going to say, up until then, I thought I had it.
Traits Jameson.
Right. So these men and women, they develop alternate personalities, or they call them alters. They often have different names, personalities, genders, memories, backstories, the whole nine yards. Some of these fragmented identities, they can even take on the form of possessions like spirits, demons, animals.
So how do we get Sean one personality?
At least one likable
You
personality.
guys tired of this one? So it's understood as to be a result of a certain set of causes. None of them are good or fun. The innate inability to dissociate easily. The repeat episodes of severe physical or sexual abuse in childhood. It's not always childhood, but it's a lack of supportive or comforting people in your life. Influences or other relatives with dissociative symptoms or disorders. So it's either hereditary or it's learned. Nature versus nurture. So just basically, something horrible happens to a person, a physical, sexual trauma, or just trauma, and the mind or the body responds in a way to cope. Pat, if you could be somebody else for an entire day, who would you be?
Elon Musk.
God damn, that's way better than the answer that I came
That
up
was
with.
so
I feel
deep.
terrible now.
Why? Why?
I mean, the man's an engineering genius. He is a billionaire. He has some of the coolest companies in the world. Like, look at him. I mean, who wouldn't want to be him for a day? As usual, I win the podcast.
Tony.
Sean Connery.
Sean
Wow.
Connery.
Sean
All
Connery.
right, just why? I gotta
Who
know
doesn't
now.
want to be Sean Connery?
And would you go on Celebrity Jeopardy on that one day?
Absolutely. The penis mightier.
So why Sean Connery? You just
He's Mr.
Scottish?
Universe. Everyone loves. Well, I mean, he does have a great accent. It's always the same, no matter what role he plays.
It's true. Steve.
I was gonna say The Undertaker, but now I'm changing my answer.
I don't know. That would have been a good one up
The
until
Undertaker.
a couple
Yeah.
WrestleManias ago.
Yeah.
Undertaker on WrestleMania, you knew you were going to win.
Right.
And if this was 1980s,
That's it.
we'd all be super excited.
Yeah, but he's retired now, so.
But I'm changing my answer to Jimmy Fallon. Because
Yeah,
everybody
also a good
fucking
one.
loves that dude.
Also a
He's
good one.
hilarious.
Get to hang out with Justin Timberlake.
Yeah. Get to beat the bro down with Timberlake.
So would you guys be scared if you moved
Hold on. Sean, who would you be? for a day?
Yeah, you always ask us questions.
No, I didn't
It's
even
your
ask.
turn. We're putting you in the hot seat.
Christina Aguilera, hands down.
Do you feel like a genie in a bottle?
He needs to be
Well,
let out.
Tony is rubbing you the right way, so
But you know what? I'm actually tired of listening to our opinions. I think it's time we talk to someone who actually suffers from DID. On Skype with us now is an intriguing young woman. Her name is Jessica, sometimes. Jessica is living with dissociative identity disorder and is currently harboring, including Jessica, 5 different and very unique alternate personalities. She started noticing this case at the ripe age when she was only 6 years old and has been learning to live with this disorder ever since. From the UK, please welcome Jessica. Did you just
Give yourself a round of-
did you just
That's
give yourself
great.
a golf clap?
That's awesome.
Perfect.
That's how we know it's going to be real. Jessica, how are you doing this evening, right? It's evening for you.
Yeah, great. You know, it's sunny here, which makes a change. So I'm, really happy the sun's out.
Very cool. And you're 5 hours ahead of us, so don't tell us what happens because we like to be surprised.
If the world's going to end,
Jessica, I'm going to just jump right into it. So you started noticing this when you were only 6 years old. Tell us about that.
The disorder itself is a childhood disorder. And I guess I didn't really notice that I was different from anyone else. I thought the rest of the world had people in their head too. And it wasn't until I was about 12 or 13 when a friend said, actually, what you're doing isn't very normal, that I realized, actually, people don't have other people in their head. Why have I got this?
Right.
that's actually a good friend.
yeah.
So you actually, we'll call it playing, you played with one of your alters around the age of 6, and you wanted to come up with an invisible friend because apparently 4 other people wasn't enough for you.
Yeah, I have this image of me and my alter Jake just sort of sitting around when we were really young and saying, let's come up with an imaginary friend. And we basically said, oh, this is so boring. Let's go do something else. Do you know what I mean? I had no idea, essentially, that the alters in my head were imaginary people in their own sense, you know?
Right. So can you change at any moment?
I could.
You
That would
could.
be very scary, but yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it can happen at any day, any time. Yeah.
I think she's the superhero.
When does it usually happen?
Oh gosh, it's like how long's a piece of string? It can happen literally any time. There's generally positive and negative things. So an alter can be triggered out in a positive way. You know, maybe they really they want to go to the gym that day, and that's sort of enough to bring them forward. Or it could be that I'm really upset and sad, and then one will come forward to comfort me or deal with the situation at hand. So it can literally be anything, anytime.
Wow. So if you have a stressful situation or something you have to deal with coming up, can you pick an alter on command to kind of help you through the situation?
Not really. It's kind of who's around on the day. Jake is great for soothing, and he's generally the one that'll sort of talk and say really positive things and motivational things and keep me going. But Jamie is very much more of an organizer, so he'll tend to organize events and organize things. So it's a bit of a roll of the dice, but I generally get a good side up, which is good.
Nice.
That's pretty crazy. So, when you do change, how long does it typically last? Can you control how long that is?
Not particularly. I actually, from the ages of 6 to 12, I wasn't myself at all. So there was another alter in charge for 6 years. So it can be seconds, minutes, days, weeks, months, years. It can literally be any time span.
Oh, wow.
I know, and I think the scary thing for me was, at some point, I think I got into a bit of an existential woe when I realized that if at any point, really, I could technically disappear forever, and that's quite...
That's
Really
scary.
scary. It's really scary.
So
I try not to think about that one too much, but
Jessica, not counting you, you have 4 alters, and they are all men.
Yes.
With unique personalities, accents, mannerisms, sexual orientation, food preferences, all of that.
The list goes on.
So just in case you decide to change on us at this very moment, we should probably find out who they are.
Wait, one of the names is just in case?
No.
Oh, okay.
But one of the names is Jake. Tell us about Jake.
Jake is sort of a really bouncy, happy, optimistic kind of guy. He's vegetarian. He likes to meditate. He likes to do a bit of gym. He loves movies. he's a really gentle, kindred spirit, and he's got a Californian accent, so you'd probably pick that one up.
Oh, wow.
I know. So this is what I was blown away.
wild.
This is the only one that you have with an American accent.
That's true, yes.
So can I ask you, have you ever practiced or learned an American accent before you knew that
You know,
you had alters?
I don't think so. I mean, I'll tell you guys a funny story. When I was in school, because Jake is like an actor and he loves, performing arts and stuff like that, and I didn't really put the two and two together. So at school, my teacher would often say to me, "You keep doing this thing where you put on an American accent," and I'm like, "No, I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm not at all." And this literally kept going, and I made such a conscious effort to be like, I'm sure I'm speaking like me, but I was basically dissociating so much that Jake would come forward and do the scenes for me. It wasn't until the teacher actually recorded it on camera and played it back to me.
Oh, man.
And I realized, and that was the pinnacle moment that I realized the people in my head were actually coming forward and taking over. So thanks to Jake, really, I had a bit more of an idea of what was going on.
Wow. So up until then, you just thought they were taking the piss.
Yeah.
Look at him with his big British.
Wow.
That wasn't me. That was one of my alters.
Okay, so we got Jake. He's 21 years old. We have Jamie. Tell us about Jamie.
Jamie is very intelligent, very smart, also a bit of a cheeky chappy. He is Jake's brother, but he does have a British accent, and he is bisexual. So Jake is straight and Jamie's bisexual. And yeah, he's definitely not vegetarian. He'll eat anything and everything. So I've really got to watch my weight around Jamie, unfortunately.
Maybe that's my problem.
Man's portion quite easily.
And
So
Jamie's the only one who wears glasses, correct?
yes, that's right.
So
yes.
can you tell me how that works? I'm so curious only because I have the worst vision in the world. I have to wear glasses, then I look at a map and I see people waving. But my question to you is, how does that not screw with your vision as Jessica, Ed, or Oliver?
So there's a theory in D.I.D. that some alters actually hold their muscle tones in different ways. Like a classic example, actually, of Jamie holding his muscle tone in different ways, that he snores. So obviously that means that there's a difference in the way that the muscles are held in the larynx.
How do you even find that
and
out?
Similarly, it's with the lenses of the eyes. So when we've gone to the opticians, the difference is when Jamie's out and he looks into the optician's lens, is that the lens is actually slightly twisted, which means that he's got a slightly different vision than I do.
Unbelievable. Okay, so we've got Jake. Jamie, tell us about Ed. You don't like
Wow.
Well,
She's like, wow. Oh, wow,
Please don't talk
here we
about
go.
Ed.
That's how people respond when we say, "Tell me about Sean."
it's been a difficult character, I guess. He is he's what's known as a persecutory alter. So it means he's a bit troubled, and he can take it out on himself, which means essentially it can be taken out on me. So it can get quite scary with Ed, but he's very loyal and a very fierce protector in his own right. He's very gay.
Okay.
And yeah, he's not much of an eater. He prefers not to eat, or he'll eat sushi and fish and things like that. But he's much more of he's much more introverted than Jamie and Jake. So he's an introvert. He likes his books. He likes his glass of wine, and that's Ed all summed up, really.
And his accent is different from yours as well. It's a Cockney accent, correct?
It is a Cockney accent, and he's also left-handed, so he will paint. He will
Wow.
He's very creative, and he does it all left-handed.
And we saved the best for last. We really, really want to know about Oliver.
Oh, Ollie is, well, he's grown up, really. It's quite an interesting, all the alters have aged alongside me. So he started off being about 6 years old, and he's now 14. So it's strange because me and my husband have been together as long as Ollie's been around, really. So he's been around and watched Ollie grow up over the years. He's also very intelligent, and he's got a bit of a mix of Jamie's intelligence meets Ed's attitude, so he can get a bit of a, it can get a bit crazy with Ollie around sometimes, but he's definitely the part that likes to relax and makes me feel relaxed when I come back. So, because he's a kid, he's got no troubles in the world, and he'll play video games, and he'll go bike riding, and he'll just have a fun time. which means I sort of feel really rested and rejuvenated when I come back.
So you were diagnosed at 16, but what were you thinking whenever you were 6, whenever you found out about this, until it was actually diagnosed when you were 16?
I tell you what, I was actually diagnosed at 19, and if you watched that this morning interview, it was wrong.
Yep, that's where I got it.
I was diagnosed at 19 years old, and it was actually when I went to university. I studied clinical and health psychology, and I was around psychologists all day and night. As you can imagine, after speaking to my tutors for a little while, they were like, do you know what, you could really use getting a diagnosis for this thing, because we could support you. If you needed extra time or you need a little bit of adjustment, we have the paperwork to back you up. And really, that was the only reason I even considered going for a diagnosis, because I was worried about the stigma that it would sort of carry with me. So I went for a diagnosis and got diagnosed, and that was it, really.
Wow, that's crazy. So I have a question. So, you have all these alters. Can they talk to each other? Or, is it, from you to an alter and then back to you? Or can they kind of communicate?
They definitely can communicate. So they have much more of a communication than I do. So they can communicate with each other, but I've always struggled to sort of break down that barrier. But there's some alters that I have more communication with. Like I have better communication with Jake and Jamie than I do with Ed and Ollie. So it just depends, really. They sort of speak sort of in my head. Like I guess everyone has technically their own thoughts. They can hear their own thoughts in their head, but it's more than thoughts. So for a person with D.I.D, it is literally like somebody else is speaking in your brain. It's quite a difficult thing to imagine, I suppose, but yeah, that's how they communicate.
So how do you know what they look like? Don't they all just look like you, I guess?
They have their own image and their own sort of idea of how they should look and how they feel that they look. So I guess some feel tall, some feel short, some feel more muscular, other feels really skinny. It depends. It just literally just depends on the person. But they've definitely got their very clear images of what they look like.
Jessica, you just got married, right?
I did, yeah, in Hawaii. It was beautiful.
Congratulations, it's awesome.
Congrats.
Okay,
Thank you.
so when you're in a relationship, there's always that come to Jesus meeting where you have to confess to things. But really only the items that might surface later. Let's be real. You don't talk about the shit that's been buried deep inside, right? It's just the stuff that might come up later. But your story, it's not like you had to tell your boyfriend, when I was in college, I experimented with drugs and kissed a girl. It's, hey, you don't know what I'm going to be when I wake up. How was that conversation with your future husband at the time?
Well, I realized sort of what this disorder could be accidentally when I was scrolling online when I was about 16, because I was always interested in psychology. So I was just looking through some articles, and I came across a thing that said schizophrenia, not to be confused with dissociative identity disorder. So curiosity, curiosity kills the cat. Clicked on the link. And it was literally like a pow in the face, like, oh my gosh, this is exactly me. I can't believe there's something that explains everything that I go through. Like, it was a really surreal moment. So I ran it back to my partner, and I ran to his home. He didn't live very far away from me at the time, so ran all the way there, and I was completely upset and like, oh my gosh, like, this is what's going on with me. And he was kind of like, yeah, I know. That's cool. Like, that explains it. Great.
Wow.
So it was a bit strange. Like, it was surreal to me that he was so cool with it. But by this point, he'd already met a couple of the alters. Again, me without having names to them, I just knew them as the people that sometimes came forward. He's always been really cool with it ever since.
Jessica, does he miss you when you go away?
Yeah, he always says he misses me. I know.
That's adorable.
I know. But yeah, he does miss the other alters. I know Ed hadn't been out in quite some time. And then it was only, I think sometime last week that Ed came back, and Gaz was really like, oh my gosh, I've not seen you in ages. How have you been? I've missed you. So he definitely has a different relationship with each alter.
So, like, if he wants to have, like, a guy's weekend, he's like, hey, Ollie, you want to play some video games?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, saying that, yeah, I mean, him and Jake have, like, gone to, the local pub for a game of pool and some beers, and, yeah, that can totally happen.
That's crazy.
So what about skeptics or people that are saying you do this for attention? How do you prove it, or do you just not care enough about those people?
I think I used to care a lot more. The idea that I would deal with this every day of my life for attention is more than an insult. And I used to take that really personally, but actually now I'm just like, well, do you know what? If I have nothing to prove to you. Like, if you don't believe me, that's absolutely fine. And yeah, like, my whole aim really is to try and break down the stigma and raise awareness and get the word out there. And yeah, if that means that some people take a negative view of me, then so be it. I did actually take a break from YouTube for a number of years because it got too much for me at the time. And actually, nothing really happened between that time. Nobody else stepped in. Nobody else stepped in this position to just be like, you know what? It's okay to have this disorder, and it's okay. You're not considered a freak, and you can still function like a normal person. Nobody did that. And the amount of comments and emails I got in the meantime just saying, please come back, please do this again. And it really motivated me, actually. So a few years later, here I am trying it all over again, hoping to be one of the spokespersons for this disorder and getting the word out there.
So do you think some of that comes from the portrayal of the disease in the media, like the movie that just came out? Like, you know, I feel like the way that a lot of us that don't deal with it or really know it, you know, kind of have a negative connotation, because when we see it in movies and other things, it's always about bad things that alters do.
Yeah, and I definitely think the media is a big thing to blame. I mean, I grew up actually loving movies like that. I was like, wow, look at this, you know. And it was so different that I never attributed watching a scary film about a split personality in comparison to me now. Like, I just had no idea that it was the same thing. But yeah, I mean, once I actually figured out that D.I.D is being stigmatized in a negative way in the media, it really bugged me. So we always get that, like, axe-wielding murderer kind of trope in the serial
Right.
And actually, you know, in all the assistants I've ever met, and the diagnostician that I work with, he's been doing it for 25 years, and he said not once had he ever met an alter that would have hurt another person. You know, it just doesn't really make sense for a DID system to work that way.
Jessica, I've had a blast going through your journey, watching your videos. I've seen every single one of them.
Thank you.
I've gotten the word out. I think you're very unique. You're unique in the fact that you want to make sure that people understand that this is not a scary thing, but it is something you have to live with. My question to you is, we went over all the fun stuff. You had videos of all your alters and their days and things like that. But there has to be something that does scare you. Like just a minor thing. You wake up, you put on makeup, and then maybe sometime you roll forward and then one of your alters takes that makeup off. Obviously, just a minor infraction, but anything you're scared of, anything that might worry you that your alters might do for you or your, I don't know, criminal or just personal record, that might change the way that you have to live your life moving forward. Yeah,
I mean, I think I've been scared of this disorder in many ways, you know. I mean, one of the things is that Ed can be quite unstable to a point where he just wants to sort of get up and leave. And he has run away in the past, not in the sort of the life that I have now, but, you know, living where I lived previously, and he had run away. And there's always that fear that, you know, he could do something like that again. And there's that fear, like I sort of talked to you guys about earlier, that I could maybe never come back again. I could one day switch and that'll be it. I'll be 90 years old and ending my life, you know, and I will never ever know at what point that'll happen. So yeah, there's definitely things like scary things that go along with the disorder, like the comorbid disorders and the anxiety and all the other stuff that maybe Ed will deal with that I won't necessarily deal with. So I definitely have to take everything with a pinch of salt.
Jessica, if you had any advice for anyone going through this right now, what would it be?
I guess just to say that you're not alone. It affects 1% of the population, and 1% is a lot of the population.
It sure is.
And you know, that feeling can be really isolating, but I'd say that, you know, the advice is just to talk to someone, to speak out to someone, even if it's not a medical professional, because I get that, you know, the medical community can sometimes knock you back. I think if you're just able to speak out and reach for a support group or talk to someone else, maybe with the disorder or somebody who is more accepting of your mental health, then definitely do, because that'll help you feel so much less alone.
Jessica, you killed it today. We cannot thank you enough for coming on here and hanging out with us. You were awesome.
Yeah.
And
Thank you so much.
I wish you nothing but the best. I want you to make 1,000 more videos, and I want the world to get to know you and love you like we do.
Oh, thank you guys so much.
Jessica.
Sending my love to Pennsylvania as well. I'm so happy to have had this opportunity for you guys, so thank you very much.
You come out to Pittsburgh, you look us up, we'll take you out, okay?
All of you guys.
Yeah, anyone you want. You, Ollie, will take them all out. Oh, we'll get an Uber. Well, an Uber X, because we got to get more people in there.
Thank you very much, Pittsburgh. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah.
Jessica, do you have 5 more minutes? Because we usually play a trivia game at the end that's called Fact or Fuck. Do you in?
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
That means she's it. Okay, we're going to play Jessica versus the superheroes. Pat,
Okay.
National Multiple Personality Day is March 5th. Fact or fuck?
Fact.
Jessica, you have to wait until he answers.
Well, to be fair, I actually knew that one because I'm on CNN every day, and that was like a month ago.
That's a fact.
Did I just ruin the game?
That's a fact. Well done.
No, I thought you did great,
Jessica, if you could hold back for
Okay.
like 30 seconds, you were awesome. Okay, now you're going to play Steve. Steve, I'd like you to go first. Jessica, do you know what that means? That means that he goes before you.
I'll zip it.
The author of the 1996 novel-made movie Fight Club, Chuck Palahniuk, got the idea from the book after he was involved in a brawl at a campsite. Even though his face was mangled, no one at work the next day even acknowledged it. Fact or fact?
I'm going to get fucked.
Jessica, now's your turn. You can go now.
I think fact.
That is a fact. Jessica's right.
Oh, I knew it.
When did the movie come out? Anyone know? Anyone know?
99?
99. Very good. Okay. Now you're going to play Tony. Ready?
Okay.
One of the first recorded cases of multiple personalities belonged to Frenchman Louis Vivet. He became paralyzed from the waist down after being traumatized by a snake. However, a year later, he began walking around the asylum not recognizing anyone he knew and sporting a new, darker mood. Fact or fuck, Tony?
That's fucked.
Jessica?
Yeah, I agree.
That is a fact.
Damn.
That is
Hit us with 3 facts in the first run.
is
I
a-
never said anything like it. That's so crazy. Fair enough.
Okay, last one, then we'll let you go, okay?
Okay, no worries.
Billy Milligan, born in 1955, was arrested for kidnapping, robbing, and raping 3 women around Ohio State University. Billy was later acquitted when the jury believed the defense and his alter Regan and Elena were in control. His first person.
First purse?
He was the first person in American legal history to be acquitted of a crime based on his psychological condition. Fact or fucked? Pat.
I'm going to go with fucked.
Jessica.
Fact.
That is a fact. Jessica, you were awesome. Actually, truthfully, he was believed to be inspiration behind the movie Split, which I believe you were all over on your social media.
I was.
And he's coming up in a new movie called...
Sorry.
No,
There's
go
a
ahead.
film with Leonardo DiCaprio coming out with Split, based on Billy Milligan too. So that's going to be another one to fight against.
The Crowded Room. The Crowded Room is that movie coming up there, yeah. Another fun fact, the 2 people that were in control whenever he, quote-unquote, committed murders were Reagan, he was a Yugoslavian man, and Elena, a lesbian. That was just,
Wow.
It was just in
Why, why does that matter?
It was on the website. Don't
Wow,
look at
you
me.
homophobe.
Jessica, you were amazing. Tell everyone where we can find you.
Oh, you can find me at Multiplicity and Me on YouTube or on Facebook and on Instagram.
Jessica, you were so amazing. I wish you nothing but the best. If you want to find more about us, you can find us at weekendsuperheroes.com. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spreaker, Stitcher, YouTube, SoundCloud, all the social media outlets. You want to say goodbye?
I definitely do. Thanks, guys, ever so much for having me. Goodbye, everyone. And yeah, I can't wait to see how this turns out.
Jessica, you were amazing. And always remember to podcast responsibly.
Yeah.